What's up, Tony? How you doing today, man?
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Okay, ready for this new episode? Tell them what we're talking about today. We'll get
Yeah,
right to it.
we're gonna get back to our our series on you know um, Black liberation, 250 years forward, a Black liberation blueprint. What does liberation look like? Not just today, but 250 years from now. What happens when Black freedom is no longer a fight, but a foundation? Today, we're not just dreaming, we're blueprinting. The episode is a love letter to the future, a strategic vision routed in ancestral wisdom and radical imagination.
That's a profound statement. And just to get the viewers up to speed on where we are and why we're where we are, this is the final episode of a series of podcasts talking about 250 years in the making. Black America's reckoning and renaissance. So we're getting to the renaissance part of it now. The reckoning, if you don't remember, we first talked about unfinished freedom starting from 1776. Then we talked about the builders, the African American Black people that built the country, pretty much infrastructure, economy, and the culture. Excuse me. Then we skipped the reparative memory and start talking about the media, which was a big episode for us.
Yep.
We talked about how the media guides the thoughts about who we are as a people and how we're seen and who should be our representatives in the media. And so now that has gotten us to where we are now. Let's take a look forward. We look back, we looked at the current time now, and this episode we're looking forward into what we see the future to be and everything. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna talk about the roots of the resistance, where it started, and liberation to survive. Okay,
Yes,
you
sir.
want to get us going with that one?
Yeah, I mean the roots of resistance. I mean, we're not spending so much time on how we got to this country and what happened to a lot of our ancestors, all of our ancestors when they came there. I mean, everybody knows that story, but I think it's important to talk about the different ways of resistance. I mean, one of the things that people always kind of relate to or attach themselves to is, the physical resistance. And, there were a lot of different ways that African Americans resisted our conditions. There are a lot of different ways that we took what was happening to us and turned it into a positive. And I think that is important. During the Reconstruction period, I mean, there were African American senators. Places like Harlem, New York, Montgomery, Alabama, cities like that had lots of economic battles, fights, as well as physical fights, lots of marching, protesting, lots of circling the wagons around what we were trying to accomplish. A lot of that happened. We don't do that as much today, more of the circling of the wagons, but that is part of resistance. That's how you get to where we are today from what we were when we came to this country.
Yep, that's it. And so this episode is going to talk about what that looks like, what the liberation of all that struggle in the past and how it's going to take us forward. And we're talking about our sovereignty, because a lot of people say, well, what are you talking about sovereignty? If you look around today, Donald Trump is trying to take away a lot of our freedoms and trying to destroy what happened in the past. He's trying to take, I saw this episode on YouTube where this company has a whole lot of not videos, but audio of real slaves talking. And
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen very often. These slaves they were 100 and some years old when they were being interviewed. And this is the first time that you could hear their voice and you could hear the struggle coming from a slave themselves and stuff. This is why Donald Trump want to get into those museums. He want to steal those things. I believe that him and his cronies want to steal those things and destroy any history of those things in the past. It's a shame that our country want to dismantle our heritage. It is really ridiculous. But that's what we're talking about. Is a resistance. We gotta stand strong, especially now when we got somebody that's hell bent on making people think that slavery was all right. It wasn't that bad, and we're better for it. So that's what I see it as and everything. You want to add anything else to it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to just hit on the part of, it's not just, I want to state it's not just the president, it's his entire administration, it's the Republican Party, and some Democrats as well, Supreme Court, who are constantly overturning precedent law that's been in existence for 80, 90, 100 years, that they're overturning without any reasoning, without any purpose. The Voting Rights Act, the way that they're trying to dismantle that, which gives states the ability to do with what the state of Texas is trying to do, by minimizing people's voices in voting. The corporations, the United States corporations, and the stuff that they're trying to do by dismantling DEI, dismantling opportunities for qualified people, making it more difficult for them to get into positions of authority. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's a whole process that's going on in the background, and we have to stay strong on that. I think we need to we need to reclaim the statement of "stay woke" and not let it be stolen from us and not let it be a bad thing to be woke and everything. So before we move into our next segment, let me go back. I'll be remiss to advertise Gents Making Sense on YouTube. We're really making headways in our on our YouTube channel. People are tuning in. We got some great shorts, which are outtakes of this entire episode. And our episodes are good if you feel the need to sit back and look at it and relax and hear some of the things we're saying. Because Sulayman is a great speaker in telling what our feelings as Black people are and not be filtered. It's unfiltered conversation on what we feel like. You can agree with it or not agree with it, but that's how we feel. We also got Spoutable, Gents MS on Spoutable. Look us up there and everything. I also like to give a plug to all the Black businesses that I support. Supplement Water Bottle Company that sells water bottles and everything like this. Stay hydrated. Their main goal is to make sure Americans and Black Americans stay hydrated and everything. Um, go to supplement.com, SUPLMNT. Also like to give a shout out to Actively Black. I just want y'all to know Actively Black is in competition with Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. They do active wear, very good quality clothes and stuff. I like to let y'all know that we don't get paid nothing from this. I'm just trying to put it out there. Now, if you want to pay us, we'll take the check. We'll take
Yeah,
the check.
that's good, man. I mean, it's just part of, you read the studies, and you read the stats, and you see that our dollars within our community circulate for a couple hours when other people's dollars circulate within their communities, their businesses for days. And we
Mhm.
are the only ones that leave our own community, leave our own businesses, and go and purchase from somebody else. So it's just to say, take a look at, companies that are owned by us and operated by us, and give them a try. If you don't like the product, it's not satisfactory to you, then, you can always walk away with your feet. That's what people who patronize businesses do. We like it, you go there. If you don't like it, you move on. But give it an opportunity. So we're going to highlight those two businesses and any others that we find as many times as we can to get our people to spend money within our own community.
Exactly. Thank you for that, sir. I appreciate it. We're going to kind of move forward now and we're going to go into the future liberation. And we're going to start the pillars of the future of liberation. And there's about 6 of them they listed here. And I think these are excellent pillars to build on. And we're going to start with liberation of mind, which I think is great. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about that because the media segment that we did is all about the mind. The media is always trying to control your mind and how you think and what you look at things. So, with the liberation of mind pillar, it states that imagine schools where African cosmetology is taught alongside quantum physics, where therapy is communal, spiritually, and free, where every Black child knows they are descendants from genius. We don't normally think like that. And they want us to think that we're simple minded and not able to be a genius and everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, those that, people who are educated or people that control the narrative, control people. And that's what's happened throughout the world. It's not just United States, the Western world. The majority of the things, or almost all of the things that were created to make life better, come from the continent of Africa. People say, "Oh, the Romans or the Greeks." No, the the Romans got their information from the Greeks. The Greeks got their information from the Africans, and it's stolen legacy. I mean, we know that. I mean, people constantly are always talking about, well, you go to Africa and everybody's living in a hut, and I'm like, no, I've been everywhere, all over Africa. Anybody living in huts outside of certain parts of a country. No different than a lot of our Caucasian brothers that live in trailer
Trailer.
parks and broken down houses in certain part of our state. No, the majority of Africans are very educated, as well as they have a lot of inventions and things that they've
Hmm. Exactly. So I think that part of the pillars is very important because you got to start there. You got to be able to imagine things you got to be able to visualize it to make it happen. And that's what I think is important. The
Yeah,
next
and if
pillar,
I could add just one more
go
thing,
ahead.
I think
Go
it's
ahead.
important to
Mhm.
you know we really do need to liberate our mind. And we literally have people out here, that share our reflection, that are so caught up in stuff that doesn't matter, that they can't get to the next step. I mean, people are so focused on making, fast money. What do I need to do to go viral? What do I need to do to get people to like me and to watch my content, or so that I can get on YouTube and talk? And that's called liberation of mind and understanding what life is about. Life is not about becoming rich. Life is not about having all the money in the world. Life is about family. It's about husband, wife, children, family, community. That's what it's about. That's what we should be striving towards. And then all the good things that come with that will come around. But that shouldn't be the top. You shouldn't be chasing that piece. You should be chasing stability. Or, what I always like to tell my daughter is, marriage is boring. It's supposed to be boring. It's not supposed to be, fun all the time where everybody's running around and you're chasing that next
Hi.
drug. So that's liberation in the mind as well, is just getting our mind straight and understanding what's important and how we get our community, our children into the next generation.
And I tell you how important it is. Donald Trump tries to control the narrative every freaking day by coming on the air, doing some kind of press conference
Mm-hmm.
or something every day. He
Mm-hmm.
gets it. As stupid as he is, he gets that part. So, anyway, the next pillar we're going to talk about is labor and health. Picture black owned businesses, black owned banks funding black dreams, reparations paid in land, education, and opportunity, wealth that is ethical, generational, and shared. That's powerful too. Uh, Something that we've been talking about forever. Why don't we, as Black people, share our wealth, our thoughts? Why don't we have a strong community like the Jewish community, Asian community, and the to a certain extent the Hispanic community is showing a resilience also. Not I'm not saying that Black people don't do it. I just don't think we do it on a wide enough scale to make a difference right now. You know,
I'll go back to what I said last week on the podcast. Is I do believe that Black people are doing, but the problem is that we don't control our image. So we don't control what's put out there about us. So the media will throw stuff in there about Jewish people, Spanish people, Asian people, and it's all the good things they're doing. You don't hear anything about any of the bad stuff that's going on in the community. They only talk about the good stuff. Movies. What do you see in movies? You see people in movies, they talk about all the good stuff that people do. But when it comes to Black folks, they find the smallest fraction of stuff that we do that's bad, And that's what's highlighted. And that's the difference. What I always say, not always, what I say is that there's a difference between Black owned media and operated media and Black targeted media. There are a lot of podcasters out there, there are a lot of groups out there that are not owned by us, not operated by us, but they are targeted to us.
Right.
They want to make money off, they want to make money off of us. So they'll put somebody who looks like us on their podcast, but the information that's coming out of there is either dishonest, flat out lie, but meant to keep us in the place that we are. We got to
Exactly.
recognize the difference between not organized. We got to recognize the difference between targeted media or targeted wealth towards us and Black owned and Black operated.
Right, right. It's just like you go into the hood and you see all these Asian restaurants in the hood.
Sure. Well, and like banks. I mean, you know, when you walk into a bank and the person that's sitting in front of you is not somebody who looks like you, I mean, yeah, you're gonna feel a certain type of way. They don't know you. They don't understand your experience. They're not going to base what they give you as far as loans off of you. They're going to base it off of their perception of us. And if everything that they're seeing, if you're a white guy and you go home to wherever it is that you live, and everything you see on TV, everything you watch on movies, everything you see on the news is something negative about me, then when I come in to get a standard loan, that is going to be in the back of your mind. You're not going to be thinking about, hey, well, let me take a look at his overall picture. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to think about what you're used to seeing, and that determines what you get. Which is why we need our own media um, to ensure that the right people are being highlighted.
Exactly. Well said. The next pillar in all this, and you'll see how all this connects in the end, is the liberation of law and governance. Prisons replaced by healing villages, community led safety networks, Black leaders shaping policies not as tokens, but actual architects. Very well said. So we won't have the token nigga telling us how to act. We will have people really setting policies and everything. I'm sorry if I can't say nigger on this. I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, we understand what the prison complex is, and we do. I mean, it's very simple. It's about money.
yeah,
You know, prisons make money. And you always notice that, when there's a prison coming or there's one that's just built or it's close to being completed, you start to see changes in the laws.
right, right.
And the changes in the laws are small changes. They're not changes that somebody's like, oh my God, what's going on? They're small changes to mean where things something as simple as, oh, somebody gets caught with, an ounce of marijuana, it used to be you had to have 4 ounces of marijuana on you for it to be
Mm,
a felony. And then they change the laws to where it's 1 ounce as opposed to 4 ounces. So now those people who used to just get misdemeanors if they were caught with it, now it becomes a felony and they can put you in jail. They need to house people in those jails, so they change the laws just a little so that they can pick up people more and put them into the system. We all know that typically once you're in the prison system, you're not going to get out. They're going to keep you tied up either in probation or something to cause you to make a mistake where they can put you back in jail. So we need to ensure that the people who are making the laws are people who look like us and can sit at the table and have a seat at the table. Not to say somebody gets off for doing something that's against the law, but that your
important.
punishment should be, um, you know, uh,
Commensurate with the crime.
right, equal to the crime you committed.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So that
And
needs to go
back in
ahead.
the day when I grew up, we started out and they did a cursory kind of thing with it. Back in the day, they started out with reform schools where you go to this reform school where they actually try to reform you, and then you graduate to the prison. So they got rid of reform school. They
Yeah,
got
because
rid. Go
they
ahead.
want people to stay in jail.
Yeah, they got rid of the reform school, and now you go straight to prison now. And prison is in itself supposed to be a way to reform people, how to get people back on the right track. I think they just gone totally away from that, totally away from it.
They
So,
have no intention on reforming people. None.
okay.
We're the only country in the world where people go to jail and they end up staying in jail. I mean, you look at a lot of European and African jails, people, even Eastern Europe, man. I mean, people go to jail and they get reformed.
Yeah.
Now they may come out again and commit a crime again, but not at the pace that people in our country know.
Our prisons are inhumane, period.
Absolutely.
They're
And
inhumane.
it's purposely that way because you have people in this country who think that, you should treat people like animals. And then those are the same people that are surprised when those folks come out of jail and they're animals mentally.
And that animal. You got that right. I'm serious. So another very important pillar that we talk about, and that's you and I and other black veterans from Vietnam War, not necessarily from Vietnam War, because them guys, for the most part, them guys got screwed and everything. The Korean War, we'll go up to the Korean War, where a lot of this, the next pillar, land and environment, we were able to get out of move into the middle class by being able to purchase land and homes and stuff. So land and environment, black farmers reclaim the soil, urban gardens, feeding futures, climate justice led by those who survive environmental neglect. That's the big vision of what it is. I just left a Veterans Day program at a church, a local church. God, man, can't remember this man's name. The gentleman that's running against Margaret Taylor Greene in this area, he's a retired brigadier general, and he said once he got out of the military, when he got ready to get out, he had a vision what it was going to look like, what his next part of his life was look like. What do you enjoy doing? And he was raised in the country here in Georgia, so he got him a farm and he raised cows. He raised cows. That's what he do. And he said by doing that, he can help the community by raising cows, doing getting milk, the meat factories, and all that other stuff. So we need more people to invest in that. But it was so hard for us to stay in the farm business because these people kept pushing us out, pushing us out.
Bless you.
Excuse me, they kept pushing us out when, just for example, I don't know what a bushel of cucumbers cost, but if the white man was getting $2 for a bushel of cucumber, the black man was getting $1.
Yeah.
And so you can't stay in business when people are doing you that way. So we got pushed out of the land and stuff. So go ahead, you talk.
No, I mean you covered it.
Yeah.
I mean this farming used to be what black folks did. I mean, that's where we came from in this country. We did the farming and the labor on farms and picking cotton and all that type of stuff. That's what we did. So and fresh out of bondage, I mean, black folks did that. I mean, because that's what we were good at. And there was a time in this country where black folks did the majority of domestic work and landscaping and things like that because that's what we did. House building, we did all those things because that's where we came from for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, there are black farmers out there that are, working. They are getting pushed out or bought over by larger companies, and partly because the business that they should be focusing on or that we should be trying to do is to purchase their product instead of running to, Giant or Safeway or something like that, buy their product, at I'm trying to think of a name, not an extravaganza, but,
Mhm.
like a farmer's market,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We do that
buy
every
their,
Sunday, and we do
right.
that every Sunday at our church, Ebenezer Baptist Church. We have black farmers from rural Georgia that comes in every Sunday, and we give away some stuff, and they have the opportunity to sell their stuff. The church buys it and give it away to the homeless people in downtown Atlanta and everything. So we got those black farmers that come in and do that every week now, and I was surprised because I didn't know, and a lot of times that's the problem. We don't know. We got female black farmers that are doing very well out there because they got programs where they are partnering with churches and stuff, and that's what you got to do. You got to partner. That's the part about it that where we are tied together and we got to look out for each other.
Well, and that goes back to and I'll keep tying it back. But the
Mhm.
reason that we don't know, the reason that most people in this country don't know is because the media
Media.
not owned by us. And the stories that you're going to see about black people, particularly up here in where I am, is you're going to see, oh, well, something going on in Baltimore and somebody's, trying to help the poor kids of Baltimore. But you never see that about anybody else. The whole state of West Virginia is poor.
Yep. Exactly.
Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana. There's a lot of white folks down there. You never hear anything about them being poor. It's only us because we don't control our image. That's the issue.
We were talking about this earlier today at school, and I was talking to somebody, and we was like, "Is back in the day when a young black lady got pregnant in high school, everybody knew it,
Mhm.
or they would go get an abortion, and then they come back to school and
Or they'd
everything."
be sent away.
Yeah, but no, no, it's the white girls that got sent away.
Right,
White
right.
girls would go all the way. We live in North Carolina. They would go all the way to Detroit or somewhere else to have a baby, and then they come back the next year, no baby. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
But they got
So,
but they got but
but
they got a little sister.
yeah, exactly. So it was they're controlling the narrative. So it made it look like white teenage girls didn't have babies. They weren't having sex and stuff. They weren't having babies. But black females, teenagers were fast and they were having babies all over here. You don't want to be like them, you know? So that's controlling the narrative. And as you can see, everything that we talk about and been talking about always go back to media and how we're seen and everything. So the next pillar is legacy, liberation of legacy, medicine that honors black biology, rituals that preserve gulag, hip hop, families thriving across centuries and stuff. What that means to me is the good part. Let's talk about the good part. We just got through saying that we don't talk enough about the good parts and stuff. My daughter now, who's in school at Fort Valley State in Georgia, she's studying animal medicine, and she's working along with graduate students and professors that um, they're doing research on IVR on sheeps that someday they hope to use with human beings and stuff. This is research that these kids are doing now at a young age that hopefully we'll be able to use in the future. So we got universities that are doing stuff like that. HBCUs. They try to take Tuskegee's accreditation for their veterinarian program, which is the only veterinarian program at a HBCU in America. And they tried to take away their accreditation, but uh, Tuskegee fought back and they canceled that. So they still have their accreditations.
Well, I mean, I don't have any great stories like that, but I mean, we know that African Americans have been involved in medical breakthroughs in this country. I talk about the sister that whose cells they stole up at John Hopkins University and used cure cancer, and never told her that they used her cells to do it. I mean, they did that for years. I mean, and the family had to sue 'em just to get the money that I mean, that her family should be billionaires
Right.
based upon them stealing her cells to create medical advancements. The Tuskegee
That experiment, yeah.
experiment that they did for 50 years on black people. There's a lot of stuff that came out of that about how to cure or to treat syphilis, how
Yeah.
to treat things using penicillin,
Yeah.
what it worked on and what it didn't work.
Yeah.
Those are live people.
That's crazy, man. Every time I think about that and know that it's real, we injected these men with this disease and not letting them know that they got it and trying to figure out what's wrong with them, you know? They trying to figure out what's wrong with the people in the know knows what's wrong with them. They use them as guinea pigs. It's crazy. It really
So,
is,
I
man.
mean, yeah, and I mean, lots of medical doctors. I mean,
Mhm.
I want to say the blue baby phenomenon. That was an African American, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Be thinking about something different, but I think it was the separation of I'm losing my train of thought.
I'm not familiar with it, but I know
Babies
it's a
that were connected. I believe that the first doctor to do that was an African American doctor to separate them.
yeah, but I think he lost his mind. That was what's his name? At Baltimore. He was in the Trump administration. What's his name?
I can't think of Carver,
Carson. Ben
yeah,
Carson.
Ben Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson. There we
Brilliant
go.
doctor, man, African American,
Yeah.
brilliant doctor. And, unfortunately, I mean, this is what happens when you go full in with somebody like the Trump in their administration, is that he should be a significantly celebrated, brilliant doctor. I mean,
African
he
American.
should be in people's books. He should be going around the world talking to people about his ability as a medical doctor. But instead, he decides he wants to get into politics, and now he has people who hate him.
Yeah, yeah. African Americans African Americans for the most part don't even consider him a hero. They don't know who he is. They don't
Right,
pay no attention to him. He's actually a nobody to them.
right.
I can call his name out right now and they would be like, "Who?"
Nobody talks
I
about.
showed they made a movie about him.
Yeah, it was like some hands of
Yeah,
something hands.
yeah, and I showed it in my JRTC class and the kids were like, "Okay." And now he's really tainted his legacy by telling all these lies for Donald Trump, pretty
Right.
much,
And
tainted
and
his
for what?
legacy.
I mean, for what?
Same thing with Clarence Thomas. Even when he died, nobody's gonna hail him, I don't believe, like they did Thurgood Marshall.
Not in our
I know
community.
the black community won't, you
Yeah,
know?
in our community, they
Yeah.
won't. I mean, first of all, I don't even put Clarence Thomas into the same lane as a lot of our black academics, because he wasn't a great jurist. I mean,
No,
he wasn't a great lawyer.
no.
He was put there specifically for a reason, to show a person with a black face, but to have the belief system that they had. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
man
think
sat on the Supreme Court for probably 10 years and never said a word. Never asked a question,
exactly,
never said a word. So, I
exactly.
mean, that tells you all you need to know about his.
I think they should have put it they should revive, The Wizard of Oz and put him up there as the first person, the Lion Without a Heart and the Tin Man w now the Tin Man Without a Heart, the Lion with one of them didn't have a brain. I think he should have been the 4th one up there, the one without balls. Shit, the
I
man
mean,
without
he
balls.
he was put up there for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. Don't even speak for itself, don't think for itself, don't do nothing. He's a puppet. And that was the closest thing to a real live puppet. He is the closest thing to a real live puppet I've ever seen. Every vote that come to the Supreme Court, you can look at the topic, look who brought it there, and you can tell how he's gonna vote.
Yep.
There's nothing there. I mean, it's just so. And because he's been up there longer than anybody else now he think he can speak a little bit now. I wish he had kept his mouth closed. I really do,
Yep.
you know?
Agree.
Okay, so, we're gonna go ahead and go into the, final stage of it, a poetic glimpse into 2020 2275. I can't even get it out. That's a long time away from here. So that's about 200 and some years. Okay.
Hmm.
250 years in the future. That's what we're looking at. In the year 2275, a black child walks through a city built by her ancestors. She sees morals of resistance, hears jazz in the wind, and learns quantum physics in school named after Octavia Butler. Her skin is not a threat, it is passport for legacy. Her dreams are not deferred, they are policy. She visits the Toni Morris Library, where stories are sacred. She walks past the Harriet Tubman Transit Hub, where movement is memory. She lives in a world where blackness is not just safe, it's celebrated. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, that's legacy. I mean, and you've seen it in, and we've seen it in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, where high schools are named after Thurgood Marshall. Streets are named after Martin Luther King, or Malcolm X, or Ben Carson, or all
Mhm.
you've seen it. That's what we see. Everybody else does it. I mean, white folks have schools named after people that have done things in this country. Why is it any different for African American men and women? I mean, like you said, a school, a physics school, named after Octavia Butler. Why would that be? I mean, what she did at
NASA?
NASA is incredible.
Yeah.
It should be named after somebody like that. And it doesn't have to be named after them forever. I mean, you change.
Can you tell me if anything is named after Barack Obama? Anything of significance?
Not that I know. I think they try to do something in Chicago elementary school or something.
Yeah,
Not sure.
yeah.
Um,
And unlike when Ronald Reagan left office, they tried to name the whole city after Ronald Reagan.
well, yeah. I mean, look at the airport.
Building after building was
I
named
don't
after
call it.
Ronald Reagan.
I don't call it the Ronald. Ronald Reagan.
I call it
I
Washington
call it
National.
national.
That's what I
Uh,
call it.
But if you think about it, I mean, one right down the street, BWI is the
BWI. Yeah,
Thurgood Marshall.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, it happens. We just need to educate our children to say, look, you're going to this school. The school is named after so and so, and this is what he
Mhm.
or she did, so that they have some pride in their school.
Yeah, it starts at home. It
Right.
starts
It
at home.
starts at home, but then it should be reinforced. You know where they go to school, reinforced in the friendship, the people that they hang around. So yeah,
Mhm,
I think that's important. I mean, I said it last week in our presentation. I mean, 2 weeks ago is that yeah, I want there to be female generals and admirals in the
mhm,
military so that my daughter, when she turns on a TV and sees the first female joint chiefs of staff, she can be like, oh, okay.
mhm,
I can accomplish that. Or my child, my daughter, if I have a daughter, can accomplish that as well. It just makes sense. And what does it go back to again? We've been talking about this whole episode
mhm.
is media and
Representation.
representation
Yeah.
and image.
Yep, that's it. It all goes back to that. So, just like any other movement or liberation, you got to have a call to action. You talk about these things, so now you got to do something about it. So, we're going to give you a kind of like a homework exercise. Liberation isn't a destination, it's a daily decision. You have to make a decision every day you wake up to be better. What we build now becomes the soil for tomorrow's joy. So let's plant boldly, let's teach, let's heal, let's organize, and let's imagine. To every listener, your story matters, your work matters, your dreams are the architect of our liberation. So don't shortchange yourself, y'all. Whatever you do and whatever you do it well and let people know about it. Get the word out there. That's what we're doing with this podcast every day. Suleiman and I get to put the word out there, and someday, somewhere, somebody's going to listen to it, and it may change minds, or it may just help people think for themselves and everything. So do your part. Do your part. Go ahead. You can close this out, Suleiman.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said is right on. I don't have more to add to that other than, you know, you do represent something. And when you walk out of the house, you represent, whether you believe you do or not, you know, you're not, people are not judging you just by you. People judge you by who you look like, what color you are. That's how they judge you. So if you walk out of your house and you do something that's ridiculous or do something that's stupid, you can believe that the person that saw you do that is going to take that picture to the next person they see that shares your reflection. The way that you dress, the way that you talk, all of that is being recorded by somebody to put off on another person. So just
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind. It's not just about you. It's not just about how you live. It's about, I think I said at the very beginning of we started doing the podcast is what do you owe to your ethnic colleague or person? Reputation. What do
Right.
you owe to the ethnic reputation? So what you do is important. So my call to action is let's start thinking about what we do and what we look like and how we act because that falls onto others that look like you. And until we can
Exactly.
get our own media where we can start putting stuff out there that is representative of us, the stuff we want people to see, people who are targeting us are going to put stuff that they don't want everybody to think about us on TV, in movies, reality TV, all that ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. With that, it brings us to the end of our a series of episodes about 250 years of Black American reckoning and Renaissance. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It was wildly popular on our YouTube channel. We got hundreds of thousands, well, we got thousands of views of it. So some of it, we get a good idea that it resonated with y'all and everything. Now, we may take next week off because it's a holiday,
Yeah.
but after that, we'll come back with some more good content. We're going to think about this, what's going on with the healthcare. We're going to delve back into it because it's very important, because the Republicans promised that they would take it up before December the 15th. So we're going to see what happens with that by the time we come back. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. And then we're going to talk about the economics of Christmas and how it affects Black people. I think that's a good subject. Yeah, we can talk about that. So thanks a lot, man. Thank you, Sulayman, our superstar. See you the next time, okay?
Thank you, brother, man. Appreciate it. See you next time.
Okay.